A girl in my school just went around grabbing guys' junk, and she never got in any trouble. Males who got sexually harassed, what's your story? My bro is back for another story time. Oh boy, I'm excited to see you again. Did you miss your bro Andrew at all? Hope you did, cause I got a great story time for you today. Since you're already here, can you hit the like button and subscribe? It would mean a lot to me. If you do, I'll send you a case of bang energy. No more dilly-dally, let's start the stories. When I was younger, a number of my male classmates started dry humping me for fun. I was a very small kid, so I really couldn't do anything to push them back. After every turn, each of them would stand up and show their bulging erections. I'm a straight guy, by the way, and that experience still haunts me to this day. The old lady cashiers at the grocery store used to kick the shopping baskets over to me and ask me to bend over and pick them up for them and stuff like that. Then they would say ooh when I did and make comments and other nonsense. It was odd. I was 16/17, they were 40s 50s. When I was in 6th grade, 2 kids trapped me in the bathroom and made me have oral sex with them. It's something that still messes with me to this day. I couldn't even do anything. They said they would kill me if I told anyone. Never got over that. I told my parents and my dad thinks I'm lying for some reason. He's one of those people who think men can't be raped. A girl from my unit course got her significantly larger friend to come up to me in a club and physically force us together. I tried saying no and that I didn't want to numerous times, but she ended up kissing me and biting me. I managed to push her off and get out of there, but I really struggle to be around her now. No one else treats it very seriously either. Had a girl in social study rub her chest in my face while I was sitting up against a wall and couldn't move away. I tried to push her off me, which of course made her laughing friends tell the teacher I groped her. I hate that girl, and no one's figured out why, even though there was a classroom full of people who saw it. Edit. I'm not saying no one figured out that she was assaulting me, everyone just seemed to forget about it, as if this wasn't a big deal. Had to go on a one-night Boy Scout camping trip when I was about 12. None of my friends were able to come, so I didn't have a tent mate, so they stuck me with this older guy. He was around 19 years old, but he was slow, so they let him stay in the Scouts, and I didn't really know him. About an hour after lights out, I wake up to him spooning me with an erection and wandering hands. I kinda just froze hoping he would stop, but after a minute or so I pushed him away and bolted out of the tent. I ended up just pacing around outside the tent for hours till the sun came up. I really wish that hadn't been my first sexual experience. I left the Boy Scouts a few months later. There was this awful kid in high school, but my friend and I didn't know how bad he was at the time. My friend, his girlfriend and I were hanging out after school, and the kid asked if he could hang with us too, so we said, why not? We played we're over at my friend's house, and I laid down on the couch while my friend was in the bathroom. I closed my eyes, not sleeping, just chilling. This kid took out his dick and thumped it on my forehead. My friend's girl and I yelled at him. Never hung out with him again. It came out later that he had raped a girl the summer before this happened as well. I was at a bar that was my regular watering hole, and I was bent over the counter talking to the bartender. It was loud as duck, and we needed to hear each other. I have hair halfway down my back and was bent over with my shoulders rounded and half hidden under my hair. Some duck nut decided to grope me, thinking I was a woman. He grabbed my ass and rammed his fingers into my taint, right where one would expect to find a vagina. He didn't. I was not amused, but he nearly shat himself when the woman he groped turned around and was a 6'3" very angry man. I let the bouncer know, and he kept an eye on him and ended up throwing him out later. I was like 5-6 years old, and some relatives had visited us. With those relatives was one of my aunts that was like 40 years old. Long story short, she asked me if my dick has grown and I didn't say anything, so she put her hand in my pants and touched it. I don't remember my reaction then, but I remember everyone laughing for some reason. Edit. I wasn't expecting this to get so many comments because that's my first comment. Also, this isn't a big deal, at least for me, and I don't feel like a victim, but I know that's sexual harassment, and my siblings freaked out when I told them. Also, she was a step-aunt, not an aunt. Sorry for my English. Also, I'm a Greek, not an Asian. 15-16 years old, was in my first serious relationship. She was emotionally unstable, manipulative. Won't go into details, but we had an argument and I left her in my bedroom. When I came back, she had used my razor to cut her wrists and wiped blood on my bed, saying if I didn't duck her right then and there, then I didn't love her and she had no reason to live anymore. She's healthy and happy now, and I have forgiven her for everything. We were young and she was sick. But unfortunately, forgiveness doesn't cure wounds, and it's ruined my sex drive to the point where it's completely non-existent almost. Which causes issues. Namely, I want to have a normal healthy sex drive for a 22-year-old man, desperately, but can't seem to get excited anymore. Makes me feel inadequate as a male, so I lift weights instead. It's all a healing process. Tired and stranded at Denver airport as an 18-year-old trying to fly home from college. The airport was nearly completely empty, and it was in the middle of the night. I was exhausted and fell asleep on a bench, only to wake up to an airport janitor with his hand in my pants. I immediately sat up and pushed him away. He was smiling and saying something in an Eastern European accent. I left the area and went to the other side of the terminal. But I was so tired I fell asleep again and again woke up to the same creep groping me. This was in the 1980s before ubiquitous cameras, and there were no cops around, not that I would have been able to tell. I was embarrassed and traumatized. I can still see his creepy smile and I was so angry and afraid. A messed up kid in my school raped another guy and said that the guy he raped him. Poor kid got expelled for being a victim. This whole thing went down at a party and someone said so and so was having sex in the person's living room, so we went to say go get a room. We heard someone saying stop it and we rushed over to break it up. An investigation went down in the school district and the cops got involved. That's when the chief of our PD said at school to drop it because the victim's parents paid off the detective that was doing the investigation. The whole thing was wasted. And no charges were pressed. I edited this BTW. The first 3 lines were original, but I added the rest because I was getting the same questions, so I thought I would clear things up. Was at an outdoor concert when a middle-aged woman backed up into me and started dancing and rubbing her ass on my crotch. I backed up, and she backed up into me over and over before I told her to stop. I turned to my friend and started talking to him when she basically put me in a headlock and started trying to make out with me. I struggled to get free while my friends laughed and took pictures, videos. Those pictures and videos then got sent around our friend group and I got made fun of for making out with an old fat woman. Edit. To those saying I should ditch those friends. Some I did, some apologized. I'm not one to hold grudges for the most part. I was at a party and, later in the evening, the hostess and her friend pulled me to the floor and tried to unzip my pants to measure my penis. One of them had a ruler. It was actually a struggle to break away from them. They thought it was funny, I did not. Edit. This was back in the late 80s. A different time. I never gave a thought of being sexually harassed or assaulted, but I did feel kind of humiliated and uncomfortable after. They were part of my circle of friends. I was pretty young and they were a bit older. It was a struggle to break away without hurting them. I was concerned about being seen as the aggressor. Both of their husbands were there, but I don't think they knew this went down. There were a lot of people around, but it was kind of dark in the house by this time. It's been over 30 years and I haven't seen them in a long time, but I still remember their names. It was not terribly serious but was uncomfortable. When I was 19, my boss, a woman in her 40s, was going through a pretty nasty divorce, which had its roots in the fact that her husband had been having an affair with a much younger woman. On several occasions when she and I were the only people left in the office at the end of the day, she mentioned that she'd love to duck some young college guy because it would help her get over the trauma of her husband's cheating. It seemed pretty apparent that she was asking me if I wanted to go bang. It never seemed like a terribly serious issue though, because that was never coupled with any kind of comments about my job security. My interpretation was that she literally just wanted to have some hot sex with a young stud, and I was the only young guy she knew. I always just kind of ignored the comments or made jokes about it, and then got out of the office as quick as I could. The more serious thing was that I once got passed out drunk at a party. There was a girl at the party who had a crush on me, but I was in no way interested in her. I woke up in the middle of the night to her giving me a hand job. Thanks for watching. What did you think of the story time? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more story times.